Hello, good to see you here again. Welcome. My name is Miss Synchronicity. Today I'm going to talk to you about something that is a huge game changer, and it is the microbiome. I came across a 9-part documentary series recently, and it's called Interconnected. And it's probably one of the best documentaries I've watched on health, because the information that's been provided and that has been researched and now we're able to access is beyond phenomenal. So in my last 2 videos I spoke about anxiety and I spoke about negative emotions, things like shame and fear, but really those were all precipitated by something that I struggle with, which is social anxiety. So I've been aware of health, what it is that you put into your body is what becomes you. I've been aware of that sort of thing for quite a while now, but never before have I looked at it in the way of the microbiome. So what is the microbiome? The microbiome is basically your gut. And what we don't realise is that the gut has the control over pretty much everything in your body. So if you want to talk about your feelings, your emotions, a lot of it is being taken care of by the signals that are sent from your gut into your brain. If you want to talk about your health, whether you're healthy or whether you have a disease of some kind, whether you have inflammation, whether you have social anxiety, it all stems in the gut. So I want to start off with a story for you today of one of the women that was in the series. So the series is basically many high caliber doctors giving their opinion on the microbiome and how things are changing in the medical world, and they call themselves functional medicine doctors, which I'll go on to speak about the idea of visiting a naturopath, something I haven't done yet. Maybe some of you have already done this, but the idea of functional medicine doctors is where we start to look at our health becoming much more personalised, and no longer is the pharmaceutical world going to be involved in handing out mass production of pills and prescriptions that don't necessarily help us. They're just causing, if anything, more problems in some cases. So as I was watching this documentary and it was going through basically the direct link that emotions can have to the gut, things just started to click into place for me, and it's the godsend that I've been asking for, because as you know, I've struggled with anxiety for a long time, and in my last video, in my last couple of videos, I guess I was feeling, there's got to be something else. I'm in touch with my emotions. I know how to work those things for the most part, even though I still am learning. There's got to be something else, and here's the something else. The something else is the physical. We all know we're supposed to exercise, supposed to get a lot of fresh air and drink lots of water and make sure we take care of our bodies, but do we actually know how to take care of them? Well, it all starts with what we're putting into our mouths, and we have to be so much more vigilant of that, because it's unbelievable the stuff that goes on in this little world that you carry with you all day long. And before I get into the story, I just want to mention that these doctors are talking about the idea that we as human beings, what makes us human is around 1% of what makes up our body. So the part of us that is human is only the 1% of our being. The rest is made up of our environment. The rest is made up of our microbiology, all of the things that are going in there, the bacteria, all of that type of stuff. That is what makes us who we really are, and that includes our personality, that includes our emotions, that includes our state of mind, our state of health and being. this is a huge game changer, this microbiome topic. So now to get into the story that this woman spoke of when I was watching this documentary yesterday, and she was mentioning how she'd been through a depression, and they were looking into the depression and why it had happened to her and sort of her whole health journey type of thing. And she mentioned how, no one in her family had ever had depression. None of her friends really knew what it was or what it was about. So this was many years ago, before the whole mental health world kind of erupted, because now so many of us have, if it's not mental health issues, it's disease of some kind, it's inflammation, it's so many people are sick in the world. And so, it comes to the thing, well, why can't our doctors help us as much anymore? Why can't we find help? And it all comes down to this. So she mentioned that what ultimately happened is she went through a depression, and they were able to trace it back. Get this, they were able to trace it back to the fact that when she was a teenager, she took some acne pills, some pills to help her acne. And this was what they traced it back to. There was an imbalance that this pill created in the gut biome, an imbalance that later on led to the imbalance becoming a full-fledged, taking over the mind, taking over the emotions, and that's what led to her depression. And it's funny because that is my story as well. I didn't know that before, though. I never even thought to think of this. I've been through a depression and still have anxiety on and off, though it's a lot less these days. And like I say, I've been looking into emotions and thinking, where am I going wrong? I feel like I've got my emotions figured out. I'm healthy for the most part. I'm basically only eat vegetables, and we take supplements. And we're actually going through a cleanse at the moment. So I was thinking, where am I going wrong? And I realised that I've been going right. I've already been doing the work that I needed to do. I just didn't make the connection. So she talks about the fact that these pills that she took, they took her hormones out of balance. And it's funny because when I was, maybe 14, or I also had quite bad acne, and I took some tablets from the doctor to help with this acne. And I just wondered, I sat there and I wondered to myself, holy crap, I wonder if my anxiety and my depression, which can't just be attributed to just a pill, I think it comes along with a lot of other factors, like eating shit food, like breathing toxic air and drinking water that isn't good for you. Like, I think it has there's a bigger picture to it. But just the simple act of her saying that in the moment just gave me this relief, aha moment of, wow, the anxiety, the depression, it's not so personal anymore. It's not me. It's not my fault. And I think many of you may have been carrying around this story for a long time, that, the problems we face, especially mental health stuff, it's to do with our personality. It's to do with who we are. And it's actually quite shameful that our personality is so different from other people's that we have to go through mental health issues and they don't seem to have any problems. Some people, not many. But the fact of the matter is, the microbiome is what makes up your personality. You've got maybe a few percent of the bacteria that is handed down from your parents, that is given to you, that makes up you, and then you've also got your life experiences that makes up you. But a lot of what makes up you is in your gut. It's in the things that you're eating, it's in the air that you're breathing, it's in the water that you're drinking. And it's such a game changer, because it's all we have to do is figure out how to be healthier, and I really mean the health of the biome, because if you can get the health of the gut biome, the microbiome figured out, the mind will come, the emotions will come after. Like, that is your main If there was to be anything that you work on right now, it's figuring out how to have a healthy gut microbiome. So like I say, that was an aha moment for me, because when she mentioned that something so small like a pill could later trigger her to go into a type of depression because it put her microbiome out of balance. We really need to start talking about what is good for us in terms of body health, mental health, and it all starts with the gut biome, the microbiome. These functional medicine doctors, they really care, and they really want to see the end to all of this suffering in the world of people fighting with disease all the time and having so many problems. The thing that I've been doing that I think is also just as important, and I want to touch on this now, and it is to do with the emotions. You see, what happened is yesterday when I was watching this documentary, we were thinking, we need to go visit a naturopath. So a naturopath is someone that can do all of these. They'll test all of your everything, your stool, your urine, your blood, your all of that. And I've never had that done before, so I don't know if there's any sort of things that I'm allergic to, or things that just basically aren't good for my body. I'm yet to find that stuff out. And so I'd really like to find that stuff out, really would. Though it's quite expensive. So what I'm going to say to you now is that if you can't get to a naturopath and find someone that can do these sort of tests for you to find out what you really need to be eating, that's okay. That's okay, because you can start off with the generic list of what is good for you. So the generic list would be eating only vegetables, eating maybe only small amounts of fruit. And the reason I say small amounts is because if you do have parasites, which what I'm talking about here is bad parasites that actually can take over you, and you just don't want them in there. You don't want them in your gut. If you have those types of parasites, then fruit, unfortunately, in large amounts, well, it turns into sugar, right? Parasites feed on sugar. The thing is, if you can't get to a naturopath and you're just going to go start off with the basics, cleansing is a really good thing you can do. You can get tablets that you take that will cleanse your body. That's a little bit uncomfortable, but it's like a 60-day cycle. You can do a cleanse that way. You can just do a cleanse by doing a 3-day fast type of thing with water only. Again though, please do your research and make sure you find what's best for you. The next thing though that really struck me when I was learning this stuff about finding out what's really going on in my microbiome, I thought, well, I can't get to this stuff just yet. We can't get to have our tests just yet, but eventually we will. So what can we do in the meantime? And what popped up is a guy called Mantak Chia, and I watched his videos a few weeks ago now, and it popped up in my head, so I thought, here's a link. And so what Mantak Chia does, and you can find his videos on YouTube, is he talks about breathing into the organs in the body. And specifically what came into my mind then was being able to breathe in to the body, to the lungs, to the heart, wherever you want to go, but more so than anything is breathing into the gut. Because I noticed that when I'm aware of the gut, and if it's feeling a little bit off, if it's feeling a little bit uncomfortable, I can send my awareness, my inner awareness, into my gut, breathe into it, and send love. So this is the part where the emotions and the I guess what you could say is more of the intuitional medicine can take place. It's what you're thinking about. It's what you're emoting, feeling about. So we can use our emotions now to heal this place, because more so than saying all your affirmations and doing all this stuff, which are really, really good, following these spiritual tools, we can now integrate the body in all of this. And when you integrate the body, the thing that you're living in and as, massive change starts to happen. No matter how much of a mess it seems like our society is in, if we have the right tools and knowledge and guidance and we follow the right people, it can be reversed. There is always an antidote. So yeah, what I want you to think about is, if you can't get to a naturopath, if you can't get to even changing your diet right now, if it's too hard for you, being able to breathe into that space lovingly, knowing that this is the controller of your mind, of your heart for the most part. And like I say, if it's not feeling too good, breathing into it, sending it love is important. And if it's feeling great, if you tap into your gut, how's my gut feeling right now? It's feeling pretty good. Oh, you're pretty good to go. You're on track. That's something I practiced this morning as I was teaching my kids. This morning I happened to teach my children about food, and it's funny how synchronicity works, right? So I was trying to explain the healthy food versus the non-healthy food. And if I was to really get down to it, it would seem like there's hardly anything left that you can eat apart from vegetables. And that is the unfortunate truth. But it doesn't have to be so bland, it doesn't have to be so unfortunate. You can make so many delicious meals on a plant-based diet. If you guys are interested in knowing what we eat on a day-to-day basis, please comment down below. I've been thinking about maybe sharing some of that stuff with you, maybe doing a day in the life vlog, where I talk about not just what I do physically in the day, like what I eat, what I do, but maybe even sort of going through it as like an emotional compass as well, like what do I feel at certain times of the day. And so yeah, there's the emotional part of it. And if you'd like to learn more about the breathing into the if you don't necessarily have the physical yet to be taken care of, you can do the emotional, and that's what I was talking about with Mantak Chia. It's not quite the same thing, like it's different topics, but to me it just popped up in my head as like a link there that we can start with. So the Mantak Chia types of meditation is where we can start in getting in tune with the body, because as we know, the body is so important, and this is what Druidry teaches us about. But so many religions out there, they miss out the body, they don't teach about the body, and it's a huge problem. Enlightenment, so to speak, is about enlightening, integrating the body. It's so important what you're putting into your mouth. So the microbiome, it harbours 40,000 species of bacteria, 5 million species of fungi, and 300,000 species of parasites, good and bad. Mainly good, but if you're into health and wellness, then I'm sure you've probably heard of parasites and how cleansing is supposed to take care of the bad parasites, all of that sort of stuff. So when it comes to imbalances in the gut, they account for a lot. Autoimmune diseases, inflammations, all sorts of stuff, anxiety, depression, all of these things. You wouldn't think that that's the case at all. So what I was mentioning in terms of the emotional aspects, the personality aspects of what the microbiome controls, this is something called neuropeptides. And this is just one of many functions that the gut has. And so the neuropeptides are the things in the gut that modulate emotions. Yeah, they modulate emotions. So at the end of the day, we just have to realize that we're kind of wearing this spacesuit, and we don't necessarily control the spacesuit. The only way that we control what happens with this spacesuit is what we put into our mouths. And then what we put into our mouths is then taken in by this whole world that you have in your gut, which is full of livingness, that then translates as to how you're going to feel today. How's your body going to feel? How healthy are you going to be? It's all translated through the information we put into our mouths, And as I say, it's an environmental thing, It's not just the food, it's the water, it's the cleanliness of the air. All of those things are involved. So I'm so excited to see what is going to be the future for our health and medicine industry, because, as I say, I'm more linked in with the mental health and understanding the emotions and understanding how to navigate that, but I can't tell you how much of a game changer that is for me. Like, it just clicked on a level that was just able to go, I get it. It wasn't personal. It never was. It never is. When we do this stuff, it's not necessarily personal. It's what we're putting in our bodies, you know? So what I'm going to leave you with now is the idea of what I would suggest. Apart from sending that conscious breath of love, because, you know, this is the way that I saw it. I had a vision when I was, after watching the documentary there, I was sat meditating for a little while, just thinking about what I'd just watched, and it came into my head that, you know, the space in between all of those microbiomes and the space that we call ether, well, it's all throughout our body too. So the thing is that you can send life force energy through your breath into those spaces that is in between all of that. This is like, I saw a vision of being able to send the love, the energy, the breath through the body in between all of those spaces where your microbiome lives, in all of your organs, in your blood, everything, all that space that is there that basically makes up the majority of this universe. You can fill it with good things. You can fill it with love. You can fill it with understanding. You can fill it with patience. You can fill it with whatever you want. Yeah. And so that's that part. And then the other part is, you know, if I'm to be honest with you, I've been a meat eater for most of my life. And in the last few years, you know, I looked into veganism, and I tried veganism for about maybe half a year, and then I basically went back to vegetarianism. And then what happened is I went back to meat eating, simply because I was worried about what I was putting in my body that was still full of toxic ingredients. Because when it comes to veganism, just because you're eating a vegan diet doesn't mean that you're healthy. It really doesn't, especially if you're buying packaged vegan things, because if you look at the ingredients that are on there, they have all sorts of stuff in there that is still chemically ridden. So I transitioned to eating meat for a while, and then just in this last several months we went back to eating only a vegetarian diet, basically vegan as well, but I just like the idea of vegetarianism. To me, it just feels good. And what I'm really trying to get at is that eating meat, eating animal products, you are more susceptible to things like parasites coming into your body, but that's not to say that, you know, it's the only way to go about it. Because, as I say, even something simple like you wouldn't even think about, like fruit, can feed and harbour parasites. Yeah. So the things that we've found that work for us, just to name a few off the top of my head, is leafy greens. So, you know, things like kale, things like salad, you know, just your generic vegetables, your carrot, your cucumber, your peas, green beans, cauliflower, broccoli, tomatoes. I want you to do the research for this, because you'll know what's right for you, and you'll know what things you want to eat and what things you don't want to eat when you do your own research and figure it all out. I just wanted to give you a basis. We mainly eat vegetables. We eat bean noodles, just made from bean flour. We eat it's also like a bean pasta. We have cauliflower burgers, which are really nice. You should try them. Just made of cauliflower, mashed up. You need a food processor though. And we also eat curry. Curry is my favourite. We eat chickpea curry, and we occasionally pair it with wild rice. Wild rice is the only rice we will eat. We don't eat any other kind of rice. Wild rice is the one that we have found to be most beneficial. Again, if you want to see more about what we eat and my lifestyle and stuff, let me know in the comments below. And also, if you feel so called, I would love to know what types of things you're doing to keep your mind, your body and your emotions healthy, because these are just some of the ways that I've figured out recently. And I'm so grateful to all of you for the just humbling, beautiful comments that you've left on some of my past videos. And some of you have sent me just really heartfelt emails, because I guess I've been sharing a bit more things that are vulnerable to me, a bit more honest and open recently. And I've just been really, really humbled by the response. So thank you for all of your advice and your support with my last few videos. I really hope that this video can give you some let's do this. Let's become these beings that are just tapped in, tapped into our microbiome, tapped into our intuition, our emotions, our body, our everything. There's so much that can be done here, and we're just starting. The new generations that are being born now, they're aware of this stuff because we're teaching them. But I want you to teach as well. I want you to be a part of this. If you can share this sort of information, it's so beneficial. So many doctors out there have no idea about this stuff. And what's even worse is that some doctors do and some people do, but the pharmaceutical industry is making lots and lots of money, so why would they want to take away from that, right? They're not going to take away the pills anytime soon because it's making a lot of money. But if you knew that you could heal yourself based on your microbiome, I'm sure you would want to do it, right? So, like I say, if you can't get to a naturopath, think about doing some of the meditation exercises I've mentioned, and definitely think about changing your lifestyle. Because another thing that is important is you see this, how my skin separates me, or seemingly separates me from the rest of the environment in front of me. It's not true. My whole being is constantly taking in information that's from around me. And so the more often you can go out into your garden and share information with Mother Earth with your bare feet on the ground, the better you're going to be able to pick up on what is useful for you, the types of bacteria, microbes, all of that stuff that is good for you, that is part of who you really are. It's just that we kind of lose it when we're in small spaces that are all chemically ridden of all sorts of stuff that is not good for the body. So it's not just, it really is about changing your whole lifestyle. What you eat, what you drink, what you surround yourself with, how much nature do you surround yourself with. And I'm not a doctor. I don't really even pay attention to this sort of stuff usually. And so that's why I'm so revved up in giving you this information, because I just want you to know it as well. I really want you to know it and feel the impact that it can have, right? Because these functional medicine doctors, they are the future of our health. These people that are putting in this good work, they are coming to the real cure, the real game changer in all of this. So I look forward to reading your comments. Thank you so much for following me, for subscribing, for liking. I appreciate all of it, and I wish you a wonderful rest of your day. Peace, love, and light to you all.